There's a couple of different methods of entity resolution. One very popular one that the world's been doing the most of, and for the longest time, from the beginning of time, is record matching. That means when a new record shows up, you check all the records you've previously seen and see if it matches any of those records. It's fine sometimes, but not all the time. The other method is called Entity-Centric Learning. And that's where when a group of records come together, and imagine now like they're rubber banded together. When a new record comes in, you're not trying to find a record that matches, you're trying to find an entity that matches. I learned this, by the way, years ago when I automated my very first entity resolution system for a credit bureau. They had all of the different records of the different people were on cards, and they sat in a packet. And on the cover of the packet was a summary of all the names and a summary of all the addresses and phone numbers that existed if you were to look at all the cards. And so I didn't know how important that was, but it turns out when you get a new record in, you don't want to check it against each of the cards. You wanted to check it against the summary, all of the names and addresses and stuff. And that is entity-centric learning. In the case of fraud, entity-centric learning is utterly essential. In fact, I would argue to say if you're doing record matching, you can't catch clever bad people. And that's because clever bad actors don't use the same name, phone, address, passport on every record. In entity-centric learning, what you're doing is as you assemble the bits of data and the records that you know about somebody, you're accumulating all the different ways they spell their name, their nicknames, their aliases, AKAs, the different addresses they've used, the different variations they've used of their date of birth. Maybe sometimes they use their brother's date of birth. That's in there too, and it's assembled, so you're really matching a union of features. An inbound record comes in, you're not looking for records, you're looking for identities. And entity-centric learning is that process of matching records to bundles, if you will. And when you can do that, you can find clever bad people. By the way, while it's essential for finding bad actors, you have to have it. It turns out it's also helped with just darn messy marketing data, so it's win-win for everybody. Entity-centric learning, once you see it, you can't unsee it. You're like, wow, how did it match this record to this record? There's nothing in common. And it turns out it's all the glue and the records in between. This is something you're not going to find in synthetic data. You're going to find this in your real data. You're going to find this as you add more data and get more diversity and more data sources. And Senzing starts to sing and get smarter and smarter because of things like this entity-centric learning. Try it for yourself. Run real data, keep an eye out for it. It's a special thing, and it's a must-have.